Florida Keys, right? Florida marlin, swordfish, if you will.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so if a swordfish can swim as fast as it can, and it's aerodynamic and it's pointed the way that it is, if this whale is feeding and swordfish is swimming fast enough, could it go straight out the butt on the other side?
Oh,
like
that's a good question.
Like, is there a whale killing swordfish out there that's just like stalking the seas,
just
like Ty's Panama?
I wonder if there's
Ty's Panama Adventures.
Yeah, if there's been instances of swordfish injuring.
Once you find out you can do that, you're like, oh, I'm blowing through the other side of every single one of these.
Yeah. Well, I wonder where. Yeah.
Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Jonny, everybody.
I'm Jackie Agnew.
I'm Jonny DeVito.
And I'm Tyler Wazzano.
You're goddamn right he is. You're goddamn right he is.
I like this. This is fun.
Right on.
I like it.
All right.
Yeah.
Some new energy.
Yeah, I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. I'm loving life.
It's the sun. It's the sun.
Yeah,
right?
it's finally nice out. And we were like, let's spend our afternoon in Ty's hot.
Yeah, with lights
Dude,
shining
with
on
light,
us. Yeah.
bright lights shining on us.
So where I'd rather be in the world, and after this, I get to go to the basement of a 100-year-old theater and cut out some asbestos wood and stuff. So like the day is just gonna get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Breathing.
Soak it in, baby.
Yeah.
It's summertime.
Absolutely. It's the things that we do to pay the rent, you know what I mean? Poops put food on the table, baby. We
They
love them.
do.
So
Yeah,
we're going to
we
go
love
and deal
'em.
with that.
Yeah, and poops. Poops take food off the table too.
They really do.
Technically.
They really do. What I do is like I've been converting ingredients into poops now for like 32 years, and I got to say, like, I'm the best at it.
Yeah, you
Efficient.
certainly get a lot of practice.
Oh yeah. How much can one, or how much should one poo in a day?
This is a real hot, like, nurse question. Not like a
Right?
hot nurse, but like a hot
This is a
question
hot nurse
for
question.
a nurse.
This is a question that every hot nurse should know.
Yeah.
yeah. The
Yeah.
answer is on your face.
Yeah.
What? That's not an answer.
How much?
Yeah. Okay.
Volume and frequency,
Yeah.
but
That seems like a good deal. Okay.
I feel like you're supposed to go like 2-3 times a day. Like I
Really?
think it's more than you would expect.
okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like for like a like there's also like there's definitely too much, and there's and there's
Right.
too little. Like I think 2 to 3 is the sweet spot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That sweet spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, and also depending on the kind of poops. Like you could have
Exactly.
4 poops a day, but one of those might be not so good of a poop.
Yeah,
One of those might be
yeah.
a more pee out of your ass kind of poop.
Well,
Yeah,
some of them
exactly.
sometimes it's like
We're-
you pull the plug, and then whatever
Yeah.
comes behind it is just like it's
Yeah.
a lot of liquid, and
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
like the 2 to 3 like healthy, you know, like the torpedoes, the
Yeah,
2 to 3 torpedo
yeah.
poops.
Oh,
a
The
day, I
ghosters
think
when
is
you don't
the-
even know.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, you love that.
wipe.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's the best.
Now,
That's
Jonny,
it.
being a plumber, do you feel like you have a better understanding of your own internal plumbing because of your knowledge of pipes?
That's a great question, man, and I'm glad you asked, because there was a day when I was in my first or second year of my apprenticeship, and there was the Province magazine, the front page of it was like National like Thank a Plumber Day, and we were all like, that's the most ridiculous shit that I've ever seen, right? But then if you kind of break it down, since the existence of like indoor plumbing and stuff, then a lot of like common diseases and things like that, you know, have been things that humans just don't have to deal with anymore, right?
Right.
So because of that, they were kind of comparing us to doctors in this article, and it was absurd to me at the time when I was reading it. So we just walk around for the whole day just being like, doctor. So like that was really cool, but then I start thinking about like the mechanics behind it, right? Like there's a cool video that's on the internet right now of like a helicopter like damn near crashing, and it's carrying a heart in it for transplant onto like a helicopter, a hospital helicopter pad, and the guy. The doctor's there to kind of receive the heart, and like this fucking heart just went through so much to get into this person's body, and the doctor on the fucking last 5 yards to the thing
Drops.
he fucking trips on something and just fumbles. I think he falls on the fucking thing.
Oh,
Yeah, like it's
dude.
beyond.
up and it's just
Yeah, like you
over
can't
top of his heart.
Yeah.
He comes in with
You can't do like the 5-second rule or anything.
I hope he
Yeah.
didn't even wash it off when he comes into the families. He's like, I got some bad news for you.
Yeah. Oh God.
But
yeah.
so in the interest of that, like I kind of understand like taking like food into like a stomach kind of like and then expelling the waste, because that's like there is some kind of like sump systems and kind of like if you're out in the boonies, there's some sewage systems that kind of like that break down organic matter and stuff like that. So there is kind of like so you are kind of taking like the poop that's already been broken down from like broccoli to poop and doing it kind of like a secondary time until it's like safe to be properly like extracted and stuff. So I get that, but when it comes to like the plumbing of like, you know, like pneumatic systems with like air and whatnot, you're dealing with like lungs and all of that, you know what I mean? And then that like oxygen is transferring from the air that you breathe into your white blood.
Yeah, that sounds too complicated
Bro,
for plumbers.
there's some
Right?
plumbing going on down
Yeah,
here
yeah,
that
for
is
sure.
fascinating
I
to me
was-
that
yeah, yeah.
I fucking no.
Yeah.
No. If,
No,
like,
but you got the poop down though,
I
right?
got the poops, man. I got the poops.
You got
But
the
I'm saying,
poops
if you're on an
down.
operating table and
Yeah.
you see me come in with my tool bag, then you got some fucking problems.
He's the specialist.
Yeah. Hey, Ty, how you doing? This will only take me a couple hours. I mean, I'm gonna charge him for 3, but
Yeah,
I'll probably only
yeah.
work for 1.5.
He's on the hour? What
Yeah,
do you mean? Why is the union rep here? What is
Why does he
happening?
carry his tools in a bucket?
Yeah. A monkey wrench.
John, you've been a plumber for 10 years. And how many times have you worn gloves? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but while we got you here, why don't you?
Oh, is that 6 minutes? Poop? Oh, we didn't even do the business. Sorry,
6
guys.
minutes of we did the business.
Oh, yeah.
Hit that subscribe button,
Hell yeah.
like the video, leave a comment, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Share with your friends, share on your story, leave a 5-star review, all of that good stuff.
Hell yeah.
Come out to, if you're in the Vancouver area, come out to
If you in the area.
if you in the area of Vancouver, come out come out to King's Comedy and Kits every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And a bunch of comedy ring shows.
Yeah, Ty, what do you got going on?
Yeah, we got new shows happening at the Heart. It's going to be a Sharpshooter comedy on the 28th and the 30th, and then Thursdays in July. And then keep out for the roast battles as well in July, and at Calabash on Sundays. Go on Eventbrite and check it out. Yeah, do all
Fuck
those things.
yeah.
Comedy ring, boom.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and we got a great ep.
Yeah, we do.
We got a great ep
Yeah, we do.
coming at you hot.
A lot of important stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff, you know, that needs to be discussed today.
Yeah, before we get into the album, which I'm very excited to get into, but there's something more pressing at hand. A man, a lobster diver, and a humpback whale had a bit of a collision. Basically, a man. I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Moby Dick, but a man.
Heard about it. Heard about it.
Yeah, but a man was inside the whale of a humpback. So
It's biblical times we're talking about.
Very biblical.
yeah. So at a little before 8 a.m. on a Friday morning,
It's important. Paint the picture.
veteran lobster diver Michael Packard entered the water.
Packard, you know
Packard.
you die for some lobster.
Yeah.
I like
Catch it with my bare hand, okay?
Yeah, there's mentioning that this article is from the Cape Cod Times. So,
I imagine the guy just drinking a vodka cran.
right? Yeah.
It's the original
Yeah.
Cape Cod.
He entered the water for his second dive of the day. His vessel, the Janj, was off.
Is that a French thing? Can we get a
It's
pronunciation?
J-
of
A Jange?
the JA''N, then space capital J. The
Jange, yeah.
Jange.
His vessel, the Jange, was off Herring Cove Beach and surrounded by a fleet of boats catching striped bass. The water temperature was a balmy 60 degrees.
Like you're already setting the scene up for disaster. If you know one thing about whale attacks, like I already know what's
My
happening.
favorite thing about our article is like is getting a little bit of like insight into this writer's like how much of my creativity can I squeak in this fucking whale article that they've asked me to write about.
Yeah, it's like the articles that we tend to cover are such like fluff stories that you can see the people who like, okay, I went to school for journalism. I want to try and like spruce this up a little bit.
And bombing was a great one.
Balmy 60 degrees.
But I mean, like, is it really worth it, like, for your portfolio or just like for your own sanity? Like, I understand, like in a sense of creative writing and stuff, we're all fans. You know what I mean, right? But do you think that like that is a ploy to maybe like get further into like the world of journalism? Like if you can handle like a balmy 60-degree ocean kind of thing, then maybe you could like if somebody reading the Cape Cod Times right now being like, this kid's on track for war reporting, or you know what I mean, like
perhaps it's like you would have as a journalist kind of, I assume you have your portfolio of everything you've done, and so if you are applying for perhaps a higher job or a new position, you want every article you do to exemplify what you are capable of.
Hell yeah. That's why she's the boss.
Duly noted. Continue. But this party really died.
Jesus Christ. Ty, how's your resume look? She's gonna spruce it up.
Not good. I would like to have gainful employment in a positive work environment. I still have the objective on the top. No, kidding. As soon as you see that one, you're like, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to love going through people's resumes when I was like managing restaurants and shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh man,
I can write a mean resume. I was thinking because we've been looking into this Fiverr, Fiverr, where you can do like freelance work basically. And some people like
the Fiverr. You know that Fiverr.
You know that Fiverr? The freelance Fiverr? Anybody that's looking for me on Fiverr can find me. I have 4 different things up and not a lot of bites.
I'm already aged out of Fiverr. You know the Fiverr?
Yeah.
But I was thinking of that being one of the services that I could offer is rewriting people's resumes. So if you're looking to get your resume spruced up, if you will, come to this.
Why are there so many pictures of feet on my resume? What?
All right, so balmy 60 degrees. How many degrees is 60 in Celsius?
I do not.
There's like farmer's math. Basically, what they say to do it is 30, to double it and add 30, right? So if like
farmer's math,
right. So like
that's math I can get behind.
So like if you're
like
30,
15?
at 30 degrees,
that's pretty warm. I assume
60,
this is an ocean too. 15 degrees in the ocean. That's fucking balmy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You know what I mean? Right?
Okay, balmy 60 degrees and the visibility about 20 feet. Licensed commercial lobster divers literally pluck lobsters off the sandy bottom. Oh, this is just a little nice background on the profession. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as Packard, 56, dove down Friday morning, he saw schools of sand lances and stripers swimming by. Ooh, setting the scene.
I can like just hear the jaws in the background. Dum, dum.
The ocean food chain was in full evidence. Don't know about that sentence. Evidence is more of a noun than a verb.
Right at the fucking peak of we're climaxing in the story right now, and we're breaking down fucking sentence structure.
Hey, we've been talking about the way he's writing this article. The ocean food chain was in full evidence, but about 10 feet from the bottom, Packard, I think it's Packard, probably.
Packard is he was a captain of Star
Trek. His boat's name is Jean Jay.
Okay, yeah, it's probably Packard.
Fucking
Packard, I'm an asshole.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Packard.
Captain Packard, like that thing,
though. Prosper.
About 10 feet from the bottom, Packard suddenly knew what it truly felt like to be a part of that chain. In something truly biblical, Packard was swallowed whole by a humpback whale. all of a sudden, I felt this huge shove, and the next thing I knew, it was completely black, Packard recalled Friday afternoon following his release from Cape Cod Hospital in K.I.D.S. I thought he was going to say following his release from the whale.
He came inside of the whale?
I was going to say, like, you never really come...
Pretty dark
like,
in here.
If you were swallowed whole by a humpback whale and then say the next person that gives you a blowjob is not really choking down on shaft, you could be like, swallow me like that humpback. Or, you know what I mean, right? Like at some point, you know that everybody's full of shit, right?
That's true.
So like now he might go into like the next level of sexual depravity because of an accident like this.
Whale.
Like
That
this
whale
is like a lot of like this is like a superhero origin story, but for the sexually depraved, like on the other side.
For sure, yeah.
Or he becomes part whale boy, whale man, whale fella,
whale fella.
Monsieur Whale.
Why has that never been a superhero thing? Like,
Everyone is not happy when he shows up, right? God, we'll take Aquaman over this pussy.
whale fellas.
This whale fella. Where's a... Hey, guys!
Every time he says hi, he just has a blowhole that's just leaking all the time.
He just said that's the only thing. He just has a blowhole.
They're like trying to catch the bad guy. And he like comes up. Hey, guys, what's going on? Just blows up their spot every time.
Every time. Get the
God
fuck
damn
out
it,
of here,
fella.
whale fella.
Who the fuck called
here,
whale
fella.
fella? I just said any of the Aqua Supermen.
Listen, Steven, we all know your name.
There's no white trash version of every superhero, super fella and stuff like that. Like who's gonna protect the trailer park? Because you only see them
That
in like
would
Manhattan
be like
shit,
a
right?
hilarious like comedy comic strip is like the super fellas. Yeah.
There's a thing I've always wanted to see, like there's this Aesop Rock song called Leisure Force. And I just think that's cool. It's just like a group, like you're just your superpowers just chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about that.
Okay, Packard said, I could sense I was moving and I could feel the whale squeezing with the muscles in his mouth. That's insane. Yeah, right? Initially, Packard thought he was inside a great white shark, but he couldn't feel any teeth and he hadn't suffered any obvious wounds. It quickly dawned on him that he had been swallowed by a whale. So he's in there and he's feeling around. Yeah. Also,
this feels like a great white. Like,
Yeah.
how
and
the
like,
fuck do you,
I don't
white
think
big enough
you
to
could
swallow a human whole?
That's what I was thinking. I don't think you can just be
No. That's
like
chilling
taking
in
a
the
bite,
mouth
for
of a
sure.
shark
Without being like...
without being ripped
just
apart.
all your shit, just being tripped to
like
shreds.
you can't just
Without
like
being
get in
dead.
there and stand up and feel around.
You could definitely, like, all of your parts would fit inside of a great white shark.
Oh, for sure. But I don't think you could just be
Just
hanging
not
out
in any
the mouth.
particular order.
Yeah.
The
Like
order
the-
that you like. It's not gonna
Like
be
the
one
whale,
that's
you're
not
like
the order it was
standing up in
intended.
like this cave, like it's a whole thing. You're
Yeah.
feeling around. A shark, you're not. You're being pushed down. Like
Yeah, I don't think
you're-
you're feeling those teeth. Yeah, those shark
Yeah. But I guess if you're in that moment, you're panicking, and you're probably your biggest fear.
I don't
is
get
the
like,
shark.
oh yeah, because he's diving, so he's got a tank on and all that. Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Is it
Right?
like
Yeah.
is it a snorkel situation? Like how deep is the water? Like, is he just
well,
diving
we'll
down
see.
and
We'll
grabbing
see
a couple
if
and coming back
it
up?
says that he was 10 feet from the bottom, so presumably pretty deep.
Yes.
I don't know how much was on top of him, but
That's
he was dead.
It's
freaky.
fucking nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
right?
It's crazy. Yeah.
yeah. But perhaps we'll find out more.
Hoping he has a tank, because then at least you're like, you're still breathing. And
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, he must have.
whales are full of water, right? Like you get in there and there's just like a table.
Yeah, because especially
like,
like
extra
the
shit up there.
humpback, because so some whales, if this were an orca, they have actual teeth, and you probably
fucked,
would have
yeah.
been fucked.
Yeah.
But a humpback
They'd
whale, they
slap
have
you around like a seal.
yeah, yeah. They have I forget what it's called, the things on the front of they don't have teeth.
Oh, yeah,
they
it's like-
just
it's
kind of
like-
open up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then all the
Yeah.
like plankton come in, so it
Yeah.
does fill up with water when they're
Yeah.
kind of feeding.
It's like in the cartoon, there's like enough room for like a table with like a candle. on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice little dinner.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think and a place to write.
yeah.
And then you
there's a
get there
host.
and you think it's like the guy's
Welcome
a
to
writer,
Chez
he's just jerking
Fellas.
off or
Yeah, there's a
something.
hostess there when
Welcome
you
to
get
Changer.
there.
Changer fellas.
Changer fella.
Yeah. Changer fella.
I will be a serveur, Picard. Man, we're really setting up for like a Little Mermaid 2 situation
Right?
here.
Yeah. I was completely inside. It was completely black, Packard said. I thought to myself, there's no way I'm getting out of here. I'm done. I'm dead. All I could think of was my boys. They're 12 and 15 years old. We don't need that's yeah.
Fuck those kids.
I don't need to know about your kids.
I mean, they're
He
12
says
and
they're
15.
not 18.
I mean, they're 12 and 15. They really should be moved out by now. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, come on. They'll be all right.
Young French boys.
Well,
Formidable.
you're leaving on a Friday morning to go dive for lobsters. Trust me, they're not gonna miss you.
And I think if you're diving and pulling them up by hand, that can't be like a sufficient way to like commercial lobster fish.
Well,
you know what
I
mean?
don't
So
think it's a commercial thing.
Yeah, so
like
he's just down there just diving for fun. and shit.
Well, I
That's
think he's one
pretty
of
gnarly.
so yeah. This article takes a lot of turns, but I do believe at some point it clarifies that he's one of the few left that does the lobster diving in this fashion.
Because there was because we watched a show on like Netflix. Or, I don't know. I watched a lot of cooking shows. Maybe somebody did this.
Yeah.
And actually in Bloodline, they were doing it as well. Danny was doing it in the first season of Bloodline.
Yeah, nice. Fucking solid show. Bloodline
Yeah, check out
on
Bloodline.
Netflix. Yeah, it's like this family crime show that takes place in the Florida Keys, and so there's a lot of shit going on. Yeah, I don't want to say
Mel
too
Fisher
much.
Gold stuff.
It's basically
there's a lot going on
Treasure
in
shit.
it.
Not
treasure
so much
shit.
treasure, like
crime,
smuggling,
drugs,
people and
smuggling,
drugs and things like that.
death.
Right?
All right, I'm
Yeah,
down.
very dark.
It's
But
So I
really
lived
cool
with-
sense because like
Yeah.
the fucking like a thread just is pulled and then everything is just kind of falling apart and it's like a scramble just to kind of keep everything together. It's a cool
and
show.
then more shit keeps going, and then because it's set in like such a beautiful, it's like the classic, kind of like David Lynch, like where it's very beautiful setting, and then
Yeah.
you see all like the shit going on.
Yeah, I know. I lived in Panama for 5 years.
Yeah, you know.
There was literally a serial killer that lived among us.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah.
And,
No, this
yeah,
shows
and-
that,
and-
and
and-
everyone was from Florida Keys. Basically, when the coke
course.
ran out in Florida, they were like, "We got to go to Panama.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go down there."
And a serial
Yeah.
killer was amongst you, and now that you've left, there's not a serial killer operating in those parts anymore?
No, he's in jail. Like he's
Oh.
Yeah, I
Both
remember that
both.
story.
One of them was a
Framed
serial
was
killer.
in
The
prison
man was-
jail.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Listen, that's why I go by Ty, not Tyler.
Tyler Boston. Don't know him. Don't know
Yeah.
him. I'm
They're
Ty.
going to recognize a guy with this face named Tyler.
These fools. Oh boy. Yeah. It's a good thing I have
Panama
like a
PD
look.
or like
Yeah.
Panama Yard? What are they called?
Panama Yard.
They'd love to get their hands on this piece of evidence.
Oh my God. Outfitted with scuba gear. So there we
Yeah.
go. He's wearing scuba gear. He struggled, and the whale began shaking its head so that Packard could tell he didn't like it.
He's got all these bubbles in there.
Right? Yeah,
totally,
right? He estimated that he was in the whale for 30 to 40 seconds before the whale finally surfaced. So, I mean, not long, but if you're inside a whale, that's got to feel like an eternity.
Long enough to
30
come, for
seconds.
sure.
God,
Yeah.
30 seconds?
Yeah.
That'd be fucking nuts.
Fuck
I
no.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't really fuck with animals. It's not like a dog
I
or a
wonder
cat. We've
how-
been over that shit. Like imagine being like inside of one. It would be pretty cool. Do you throw a punch? Like I thought that this was gonna be a situation where, like,
Underwater?
fuck
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Like just like a dream, just like
Yeah.
oh, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So then you have to resort to your sidearm. Personally, if I'm diving, I'm going like, submachine gun, something like that, or whatever. He's probably got to have a blade on him at some
If
point.
you don't die with a
Right.
die knife, you're an idiot.
Yeah, right.
Like,
So
it's
do you
Right.
cut your
like-
way
Yeah,
out of that
yeah.
motherfucker?
For so many reasons. Like,
Yeah. I'm sure he had something on him,
Yeah.
but luckily it didn't come to that. I'm
Right.
sure if he was in there for 30 more seconds or even
Yeah.
I'm
15
finding the
more
blowhole and I'm
seconds, he
fucking
probably.
just like I'm fucking.
I don't know if the blowhole
like
is
Ace Ventura
located.
2 out of the Rhino.
100%.
I don't know if the blowhole is located in the mouth. I
Yeah.
think you would have to travel. You would have to go further into the whale to locate the blowhole.
This is such like this is a human Lemmy situation, right? And like Lemmy Winks couldn't just turn around and go out of Mr. Slave's ass in the classic South Park's episode.
Yeah.
Lemmy Winks, I mean, of course, guided by the spirits of the anus, of course, was he had to go further, right?
Yeah.
To come out the other end, right?
Right,
So I think in
yeah.
a Lemmy Winks situation, my first instinct might be to go deeper.
I feel like if you figure, I mean, who knows? Because I haven't been inside of a whale, so in
Oh,
that
you are gonna
situation, you're you're panicking.
I've been inside a couple whales.
Yeah,
Hey, what are you?
hey.
Johnny and I both looked at him like, we want to take this one or what? How do you want to do this?
I'll send you some links.
But I feel like if leaving aside the fact that you would be panicking, so that would influence your decision making, I feel like if I figured out I was in a whale, and it was clearly probably a humpback whale, a whale that doesn't have teeth, I would think, well, they're gonna open their mouth again at some point. My best bet is probably to lay low until
nuzzle up on this tongue here.
Yeah, especially if you have scuba gear. I mean, I probably wouldn't be that chill about it. Like, I would want to get out there pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I feel like your best bet is to go back through the mouth because they open them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would because you can with your regulator, you can push it so it just excludes air.
Bubbles,
I
yeah.
would just fucking try to do that a bunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also wonder how much you're supposed to be as calm as possible when you're
Totally.
scuba diving.
Yeah.
But how much air do you think he was
Used
just
up.
huffing?
Oh,
Because he's
I'm sucking wind. If that's 100%.
You're just that thing could be you don't know how full it was.
You're
That's
about to
crazy.
die.
Yeah.
What if you were
that amount of air?
what if you had a quarter tank left, but then you get swallowed by a fucking whale, and you're just
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm in a whale.
Yeah.
It's just keeps going down.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
fucking
Wild.
kidding.
Would be fucking.
Especially too if you're doing that as well.
Yeah.
Well, it is crazy, but in the article it says that when he swam, once he got spit out, he swam himself to the surface, got
Well,
on, and then went to a hospital.
So I saw a light.
Was he hurt at all?
And he started throwing his head side to side, and the next thing I knew, I was outside in the water, said Packard, who lives in Wellfleet. It's just fun background info. Packard's sister, Cynthia, spoke with crewman...
I didn't know she was part of it.
Yeah, crewman Josiah Mayo, who relayed some of the details to her. Packard said Mayos saw the whale burst to the surface and that he also initially thought it was a great white shark. There was all this action at the top of the water. Packard said Mayo told her. Why is Mayo not being quoted directly?
Yeah.
Picard said Mayo said.
That's
That's just how fucking lazy this journalist is.
Right?
It's like,
yeah.
all right,
At first, I was having a lot of respect for this journalist. Now it's getting a little
You
dodgy.
can
Yeah.
see, you can
Doing
see
Mayo.
laziness by the
Yeah.
end, right? It's like if you can't finish strong,
Doing
you know what
Mayo
I mean?
dirty,
We're
man.
starting to see the
Yeah.
cracks here. We're
doing
starting to see
Mayo
it.
like ketchup over here.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Then the whale flung her brother back into the sea. Mayo picked him up, called by radio to shore, and sped back to the Provincetown pier. A Provincetown Fire Department ambulance took him to Cape Cod Hospital. Thank God it wasn't a great white shark. He sees them all the time out there, said his sister.
Interesting.
He must have thought he was done. So based on what was described, this would have to be a mistake and an accident on the part of the humpback, said Juke Robbins, director of humpback whale studies at the Center for Coastal Studies in Provincetown.
Well, this is who you need to talk to for this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
how
right. You're
convenient.
bringing-
he couldn't
Yeah.
reach out to Mayo, but he calls this
right?
no.
Yeah.
We couldn't get a direct quote, but we're gonna call some other lady.
Yeah. Humpbacks are not aggressive animals, particularly toward humans. The humpback was described by Mayo as being medium-sized, Michael Packard said again. Mayo said he was medium, Packard said. And Robbins suspect it was a juvenile feeding on sand lands. When a humpback opens its mouth to feed, it billows out like a parachute, blocking the animal's forward vision, which is why so many become entangled in fishing gear in their mouth and jaws. Even so, the incidents of feeding humpbacks injuring swimmers and divers, especially instances of swallowing them, are so exceedingly rare as to be non-existent. The esophagus on non-toothed whales is so small to actually swallow a human. It's too small to actually swallow a human, but they could wrap their mouth around a large object and then spit it out. Robbins said, unlike toothed whales such as orcas, baleen whales that filter out small schooling fish do not explore or cause injuries with their mouths. They generally use their tail. It is not something I have heard of happening before, Robbins said. So many things would have had to happen to end up in the path of a feeding whale. Yeah, so this was, I mean, don't blame the whale for this, and that's why I'm happy it didn't, that Packard remained calm enough as to not take out his weapon that he presumably had on him. This was just a young novice whale who made a mistake.
What a ridiculous existence that you're as a whale, it's pretty cool. I wish, I want, I look at the life of our cat, and I'm like, I fucking wish. You know, you just scratch my belly and pick up my shits and then just put food in the bowl every day. How
Right.
fucking cool would that be?
Yeah.
Right, but that's just not the case, right? I mean, I drew the short straw in life, right? So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But
Yeah, right.
you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
fucking,
Instead, you were born a white dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do the short straw.
Yeah,
I'll say it
hear you.
again.
I
I'll
get
say it again.
I think about it all the time, my cat.
that is though such a thing. Like if you're like in the morning, you have to wake up early and go to work, and then you just look at your cat like lounging. You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty demoralizing, right? But like in the life of a whale, like if all you get like your whole life is just to swim around and find like a schools of fish, and then you just open your mouth and just like swim through them. That is fucking hilarious, right? But the fact that they can't see where they're going when they're doing that or whatever is just like the fact that this doesn't happen more.
Right.
You know what I mean? To like other things.
Yeah.
And okay, so Florida Keys, right? Florida marlins, swordfish, if you will.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so if a swordfish can swim as fast as it can, and it's aerodynamic and it's pointed the way that it is, if this whale is feeding and swordfish is swimming fast enough, could it go straight out the butt on the other side?
Oh,
like
that's a good question.
Like, is there a whale killing swordfish out there that's just like stalking the seas,
Just
like Ty's Panama?
I wonder if there's
Ty's Panama Adventures.
Yeah, if there's been instances of swordfish injuring.
Once you find out you can do that, you're like, oh, I'm blown through the other side of every single one of these. I see.
Yeah. Well, I wonder where. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I wonder like where swordfish what the oceans they would be found and what kind of whales they would be surrounded by, you know? Like if they have whales that are toothed and that are more predatorial towards bigger fish.
Then they would be less inclined to
I feel like
swim
they'd
in the
fuck
mouth
up
of one
a
of them.
swordfish.
Yeah,
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
They'd probably eat
Fair
it. Like
enough.
it's like a
Totally.
swordfish just seems like it's a tuna with a fucking sword on
With
its
a-
face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
right?
Yeah,
As far
yeah.
as I can tell.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not gonna
I'm
argue
no
that.
marine biologist, but
Yeah,
I have been on a boat
Listen, I'm no
before.
big city marine biologist
Yeah.
either, but I know.
Though I think
that,
swordfish meat is like a white fish.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I would
I
have
don't
to
know. I
identify
just
it,
know
yeah.
on one of the guys' grocery games, they got
Nice.
a swordfish steak.
I think I've had
Oh.
swordfish before. I remember down in Panama, people definitely
Cool.
caught them and shit. We used to do the lobster. We used to go like the hand dive, like for lobsters.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's like the Caribbean ones are kind
Did
of
you ever get
crazy.
bit by one?
Huh? No, so here's the deal. The Caribbean ones don't have pinchers or anything,
shit.
right? They just have these
Crazy.
like crazy long antennas.
Oh yeah.
They're like straight alien. I mean, they already look like
Oh,
bug
yeah,
aliens,
yeah,
but like
yeah,
they like
yeah.
are even crazier.
Floor
And they're like
cockroaches.
spotted like a. You kind of look
Right.
at them, they almost look like a leopard print or something.
Crazy.
So how, from an evolutionary standpoint, how do they defend themselves against?
I think it's
predators?
like maybe like part of it because of like the way the reefs and stuff are formed there,
Oh,
that
okay.
like they have an easier time hiding in those holes than
Okay.
like
Fair enough.
Okay.
than
They didn't need to
something like
develop
here that's
them,
like a
so-
deep because like
Right.
these like I don't know, all the places that I dove there were like never never anything really below like 30 feet,
Oh, okay.
Right.
right?
Okay.
You just like it's like 10 to 20 would be like and that's where
Really?
you'd get like
Yeah.
lobsters
Right.
and shit.
Crazy. And just
Cool.
teeming with life.
Yeah, it's insane.
I've
Incredible.
gone diving once in Hawaii, and it was so fucking cool.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
saw an
yeah,
octopus.
it's
It was
insane.
sick.
See, I never got to see an octopus, and I
Yeah,
used to
we
go
were
because
so
I got
lucky.
like my dive masters and shit like that when I was there. So you'd have to go on night dives,
Yeah.
which are like
That's gnarly.
that's the
Yeah.
scariest thing about
Yeah,
it.
that's
It's
fucking
scary,
fuck
but
that.
that's where you're
You
more
would-
likely
yeah.
to see an octopus.
Yeah.
We were so lucky. It was the only time I've ever gone
That's
diving.
awesome.
Yeah, and our diving instructor like saw it and he was like holding it and was like. And then, and then it kind of swam away and like inked us and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we came up and he was like, "You have no idea how little that happens." And I was
Yeah.
like,
Awesome.
yeah, it was pretty sick.
It's that's fucking it's crazy, man. It's literally like going to space.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, like some conspiracy theories that have to do with the ocean. I'm all in because I'm like there are
Totally.
creatures down there.
That's the thing. Like I'm
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
pussy, right? Because once I realized that like I'm in space, like I'm such a creature of like comfort and like habit and stuff, right? That like if I can't like sit on a couch and like bullshit about it, like I mean, like underwater, the amount of pressure, the frightening nature of everything that exists below like 100 feet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Right? Like everything
Oh,
looks so fucking crazy.
above that, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The 10 to 15 feet is scary as
Oh,
fuck.
fuck
too,
yeah,
man.
I'm not
Like,
fucking with any of it.
barracudas are scary.
Yeah, it is because I remember I was like 16 or something when we went to Hawaii, so I was very nervous about the idea. And we had this like booked this with like a diving company or
Yeah.
whatever. And the first time it kept fucking up, and so it took like 3 times of like it was just like miscommunication. All this random shit kept going wrong. And so in my head, I was like, this is a sign. We shouldn't be fucking doing this. We should not be fucking doing this. So it took like 3 times. But my dad really wanted to go because he loves diving. And he was like, trust me, once we get under there, you're going to be like, yeah. And so anyways, it finally happened. And yeah, it was like, I was so nervous leading up to it. And then as soon as you get underwater, it's
super
like,
freaky.
holy shit. Yeah.
I did like that hookah hose thing for the first time where it's just like a regulator with like a 70, 90 foot fucking cord up to like a generator.
The guy on the boat fucking is doing his shit, right?
Well, no. So there's a dude like usually like it floats along with you or from a boat, but someone plays God who's up top. So because sound travels so much faster underwater. You could hear like so much stuff.
Right.
So like we used to have like a speaker that you could like we'd listen to tunes and shit like underneath, which is like crazy. But the guy who plays God usually has like a little like tube that's filled with like dimes or something like that. And then if it's something happens with the motor or like that, you have enough line to get back up and all that. But he shakes it, and then like there's something going on up top that we need to go up.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Yeah,
it's fucking wild. Yeah. But it was so scary to me. Like
very
5 like tries to actually be able to like go down. So I'd be like, I'd get like a little bit down. I'd be like, this is fucking scary. And I'm not used to like breathing through your mouth and like you're like all the time
Totally.
Yeah. I think I was young enough that it was like once we were there and like in the water, I could adjust pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, leading up to it, I was so nervous. But it was literally like as soon as I got underwater, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I want to do this a million times. Yeah. But I haven't been able to go since then. But anyways, so back to this fella. Charles Stormy Mayo, a senior scientist. Oh, this is a different Mayo. Is
different Mayo?
Yeah, everyone here is fucking related.
I'm glad that happened because I was reading this article earlier and I was just like really stoned and I was like, is there 2 Mayos?
Yeah.
Like this is the point where I kind of checked out.
This is Stormy Mayo.
Spicy Mayo.
This guy is giving direct quotes. A senior scientist and whale expert at the Center for Coastal Studies agreed it was likely an accidental encounter. It requires a federal permit for professional photographers and researchers to get close to whales underwater, but there are areas of the world where it is generally allowed. People direct dive on humpbacks in the tropics, not here. In those places, I'm not aware of a single incident of people having problems with them, Mayo said. Packard crewman Josiah Mayo is Stormy Mayo's son. Oh, there we go. Yeah, everyone's fucking related.
It's Florida.
Like, yeah, exactly. There's too much going on here in the middle. I think that I don't know. I think that they're up to something now. I've developed my own theories about the Packard family.
Yeah. Michael Packard is a smart guy and an exceptional diver, Stormy Mayo said. For that to happen to him, you can be sure he did everything he was supposed to do. Packard was released from Cape Cod Hospital Friday afternoon with what he described as a lot of soft tissue damage, but no broken bones. He said he'd return to diving as soon as he was healed. So commercial lobster divers are a tough breed. They brave the cold waters of Provincetown, though balmy on this day, to grab migrating lobsters off a sandy shelf when they emerge from an adjacent deep channel scoured out by the powerful current surrounding Race Point.
Fly away.
Anyone gonna touch that?
No, it's all yours.
It's a spot that's fraught with danger.
I had a feeling. It's one of those neighborhoods you lock the doors. The windows up.
The crewman topside keeps track of the diver below by following his bubbles as he is pushed by those strong currents. Divers have been dragged. I'm having a really difficult time speaking this morning, but bear with me. Divers have been dragged out to sea. That happened to Packard once, and he treaded water for hours before being rescued.
Jesus.
And he once found and recovered the dead body of a fellow diver.
Oh my God.
Yes, this guy
I think divers
has
is
been
like
through
that's
some
pretty.
shit.
Like if the longer that you dive,
I feel like it's like
you're gonna have that kind of thing.
like a squirrel suit sort of situation.
100%.
It's like everyone you know will probably die.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like especially if you do like cave dives and like
yeah.
really risky shit. Like
100%.
you're not supposed to be there.
It's
no,
like,
at all. There's like when you see guys like with fucking tanks on their back, like jimmying their way through rocks to go deeper into
that,
cave. You
dude.
got to be fucking retarded,
Yeah,
right?
it's like logging. If you work in that industry long enough, a lot of your fucking friends, or you're gonna see a lot of your friends die.
Fucking rigs.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
so much
A
Yeah,
buddy of mine,
yeah.
his grandpa was a diver, and I worked with the coroner's office in the RCMP and shit like that for years because he did so many fishing tours and stuff just up and down the Columbia River that when somebody like either committed suicide or like fucking whatever happened, there was an accident or like a murder or
He's
whatever,
gotta go.
he would basically be like, where do you think the body went in at?
Oh,
And then he would
God.
be like, here it is. And then they would go and get it, kind of shit, right?
Gotta go fishing with that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It was
Oh.
crazy, but I can't remember what like capacity he worked with them.
What did you guys catch? A murder scene.
Yeah.
He's like he was already long since retired and shit when when I was he just did like fishing tours for fun and stuff like that or whatever. But like I remember when he told us that he basically kind of he was talking about one time specifically, right, where like a body kind of like went in here, and then you can kind of like see the way that like he like his map was like really fucking old or whatever, and it was just like a map of the river and stuff, and like currents and little eddies and shit like that or whatever, shit on the side and stuff like that. And he's like, now this section here has been like developed and stuff like that, so like beavers and blah blah blah, so there's like an actual dam or whatever that's like over here, and he's like, you find shit in there all the time. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You're like, that's
There's
dark.
some fucking gnarly jobs out there.
Mhm.
So Packard
Especially no, never mind.
Okay, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna be the guy that he pays to fuck him, like you know what I mean? Like you like what, that's a sad soul. Because I was thinking about it, right? Like if you, of all professions, you have to think of like who's fucking that person, right?
Right, yeah.
And he was a
Dude, he's a salty sailor.
he was a
Yeah.
curmudgeon
Not a lot
son
of
of a
people,
bitch too,
yeah.
exactly, right? So like the sex workers that he took it out on probably, I think,
Oh, yeah,
are the
yeah,
true
that's
the true
horrific.
heroes in that story.
Yeah, sex workers are always the true heroes of every story. I think
100%.
it always comes back to that.
Especially at Race Cove.
Yeah,
Or
Race
whatever.
Cove.
It's actually, you know what I mean? It's a pretty progressive point. I mean, it's multicultural. It's nice, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We just took the worst take on it.
We did.
We could have went like
Could be
50s drag
Yeah.
race and stuff like that. It could have been fun, you know what I mean? Didn't happen.
Packard has had his share of close calls. For years, he was an abalone diver on the west coast in an area with great white sharks that have a history of attacking divers. He lost some friends to the predators. 10 years ago, while traveling in Costa Rica, he was a passenger in a small plane that crashed in the jungle, killing the pilot, co-pilot, and a passenger. Packard sustained...
Picard's been
Yeah.
up to some shit, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. This is the
Right?
new Cousteau, dude.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
Packard sustained multiple serious injuries to his abdomen and upper body. The rescuers that found the remaining 5 passengers after 2 nights in the jungle said they wouldn't have survived another night. Packard thinks he may be the last lobster diver in Provincetown. It's a strenuous job, said charterboat fisherman Dave Spider Gibson.
Everybody's got a fucking nickname in this fucking
Where
town.
the fuck is it?
Spider
I didn't know
Gibson.
Spider was involved.
Spider.
Who reached out to Spider?
What?
Spider Gibson?
Oh, Spider.
Oh, okay, I love this
Oh,
picture
snakes.
that's being
I don't know
painted
no
here.
snakes. I know Spider.
Yeah. It's a strenuous job, said chartered boat fisherman Dave Spider Gibson, standing on Provincetown's McMillan Pier Friday afternoon.
Oh, boy.
What
What a sentence.
Wrap it up, for
What
fuck's
a-
sakes. We're talking
what a
about an album.
picture.
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
he's the best lobster diver I've ever seen. He knows what he's doing.
Suck his cock hard.
Jeez, really pleased
I
with
mean,
Carter.
I like it. It's interesting to introduce a new character in the last
That's
2
a-
sentences.
I feel like Spider was Spider narrating that the whole
It's
time?
just
Kind
Spider,
of thing? Like
it's
it was-
just Spider standing on a pier. He knows what he's doing.
It's like Spider was reading the article the whole time.
100%.
Like he's David Duchovny
Yeah.
in Red Shoe
Totally.
Diaries.
Yeah.
Thanks,
man.
Spider.
Yes, that was a crazy story. That
was wild.
that
That was
just-
pretty
like I
cool.
said, a lot of turns at the end there, where they just like list every fucking thing he's experienced.
He's a deep throat fanatic now, and I feel like there's nothing that he can do except just like explore his newfound kinks and you know what I mean. Try not to, take his failures out on his 2 boys,
Yeah.
because you know he could have and should have
I mean, he seems
Killed
like
that
a
whale.
fucking badass. He's got to use that when
Bro,
when his kids are
yeah.
acting up. He's like,
He's
I
like,
was
I've
in a
survived
fucking plane
crashes.
crash.
I've been in a fucking
Yeah.
whale's mouth. Get the
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
like what a
Yeah.
fucking life this guy has lived.
Yeah.
I fucking have had to swim like another dead diver's
I
body.
had
your
to
Uncle
swim
Spider?
through a whale out his ass like a swordfish.
But yeah, shout out to old Packard,
Packard,
over
Yep,
there,
yep.
and to Spider and
we wish the Jean Jay
Don't forget the Mayos.
and the Mayos
fishing vessel a lot much success in the
and
future.
the sister.
Absolutely.
Yeah, power to you. I hope you're rocking. You're rocking in the free world. But we have an album to get to.
Yeah, we're a music podcast, right?
I heard that somewhere along the line.
Yeah. I'm very excited about this album. It is Mac Miller K.I.D.S, Kickin Incredibly Dope Shit.
Yeah.
His fourth mixtape came out in August of 2010. Was kind of his like breakthrough mixtape. It was after this release that he went on his first tour in 2011, the Incredibly Dope Tour, and he sold out at every place he played, which is pretty fucking crazy for your first tour.
It's dope as hell.
He was 18 at the time that this came
That's
out.
even crazy.
Yeah, what's even more crazy is that so we'll get to all of this, but this is his fourth mixtape. His first mixtape, he was 15 when he put it out. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's fucking.
It's So and it was followed by Best Day Ever, which had his kind of big breakthrough single Donald Trump, and that came out in 2011, so less than a
Aged
year
perfectly.
later. Yeah,
Like a
yeah,
fine
right.
wine.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
How much that guy's been referenced in every
Yeah.
like every rapper's lyrics.
Yeah, and so for K.I.D.S, 7 songs. He made music videos for 7 of the songs. Released them on YouTube, and each of them on YouTube have over 50 million views.
That's insane.
Yeah,
This was like at the time, right? Like when this is coming out, like mixtape culture was fucking huge, and I
It was like
think-
the resurgence of mixtape culture.
Totally.
It was like the
Totally.
second mixtape culture of like
yeah,
the
definitely.
fucking
like, I think,
YouTube.
like, yeah, when everything like was starting to, we were talking about it before, Ty, and I think that you were right. Like 2010, I thought this was like 2007, but if it's 2010,
his first mixtape was 2007.
Because
This is
then I
2010.
think we were just like we aged out or whatever. Like it just was like not on our radar or whatever of like the stuff that I was listening to, especially at 2010. Like around that time, I was going to like Soundset in Minneapolis and finding like Chicago and like that
Right.
kind of like the Midwest kind of scene of hip hop and stuff like that. And I feel like this kid would have fit along perfectly in there.
Yeah.
You know what I
He's
mean? Like
Pittsburgh, right?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
yeah. So for whatever reason, just kind of like slipped by like my radar. But you could see how important like YouTube was. And
he was a huge
and like
YouTube was
like
huge
he was
in
like a
his-
big example of like artists kind of taking like a different route, right? You didn't need like a major label to do the thing anymore, and this kid was like number one.
Yeah,
You know, like a huge reason to that, or he saw a lot of like other people kind of coming up around it and was like, oh wait a minute, because now I think like of those names are some of the biggest names in hip hop too.
Yeah,
they were
and
doing it
I
like that at the
think,
time. Tyler the Creator, like like
Yeah.
Rose put in all
totally
the-
kind of
so
the
sick,
same
dude.
sort of era. Yeah, and so so it came out August 2010, and so that was the summer after grade 10 for me. I was going into grade 11. I kind of discovered him, I want to say beginning of grade 11. So it was probably a couple months after this mixtape came out, and it was a very formative album for me. It was kind of like the first, because I was like into hip hop. My mom listened to some hip hop, but I had never really discovered the music that I was listening to, that I had like kind of gone out on my own and found. It was more kind of indie at that time, like rock, acoustic shit. And so this was kind of the first like hip hop artist that I
Find the first
discovered.
rapper that spoke to you, kind of thing.
Yeah, that I kind of found on my own with my good friend in high school, Alana, and we got really into him together. And like to kind of set the scene, I'm going to like a fucking private boarding school that I hated, like fucking despised this place. And then started listening to Mac Miller, and he's 2 years older than me. He's my brother's age. And so it's very much like, especially especially when this album came out, he's in fucking high school, you know? So it's very much speaking to me. And I'm like hating this place that I'm in, and like definitely wanting at the time had like I'd always kind of had this idea that I wanted like a big future in some way, not necessarily like fame, but kind of in that trajectory. I didn't really know what yet. And we're back.
All right.
That was close.
Where was I? Yeah, that was close. I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Well,
but
there's this guy lobster fishing. See?
Yeah. Have you heard of Spider?
Yeah.
What was Mayo? Stormy Mayo? Oh,
Stormy Mayo. Dude,
Stormy
Stormy
Mayo.
Mayo is like a porn
I
star
think
for
Stormy Mayo
sure.
and Spider, if they
Like
were
a
fucking like a
fucking-
rap group or whatever, I listen to Stormy Mayo and Spider's mixtape for
It's
sure.
like Stormy. It's like a porn star, but like a porn star from Abbotsford or something. Yeah. Stormy Mayo.
Oh,
You can follow a trail on the carpet and find it.
It's
Yeah.
like if
Mayo
Mayo
Trail.
tried to rebrand themselves and be like more dark.
Yeah.
Stormy Mayo. Like when ketchup came out with all different colors. Remember,
Oh,
like
yeah.
purple
Fuck
and
yeah,
green.
not
It's
fooling
just like
anyone.
black
It's still
mayo.
bad.
It still sucks.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah,
You're in grade
basically-
10. You're in boarding school.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
this guy's
First rep
speaking to
So
me.
it was
exactly.
so it was just speaking to me, seeing not wanting kind of bigger things for myself, not really sure how to get there because I was, you know, from an island, very small town, and kind of seeing this kid just do it, you know, for himself.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying that I was like, I'm gonna be a fucking hip hop star, but like, you know, kind of the same thing. So it
There's
spoke to
something
me a lot
there.
at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a kid. Like I think like well, the three of us, like I assume so, right? Like there's a weird like feeling when you're a kid and like you don't, especially like from like a town, like not really understanding how to like achieve the, you know, the thing that you want. And I think that the thing that like I just wanted to emulate everything that I saw, right? Whether it was like acting or music or fucking comedy or whatever, right? I just wanted to be a part of like entertainment or something like that, right?
And like part of it just like being like so desperate for attention all the
Totally.
time. So that was definitely part of it too, wanting like all the attention I could possibly get. But yeah, which was very
Yeah, it's weird too when you're in a town that there's no outlet for it, right? So like
yeah,
you're even like you're
and
even
being
more
very
lost.
trapped in this small world, like literally trapped, like could
We're the
not
same
fucking
person,
leave.
bud.
Aw. There's some differences.
I got an oversized clit. Yours is real cool looking.
But yeah, so this was a very formative album. I remember when his next mixtape, Best Day Ever, came out. It was in 2011, so less than a year after this came out. It was, I think, March or something. And I remember I had to stay at school late that day because I was a day student, but I was still there from fucking 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Some days. And so I was there late that night during prep, which was a mandatory 2-hour homework period.
That's not what my doctor told me.
Yeah. And I remember being at school, and during like prep hours, a bunch of websites and shit were blocked on the school internet. So you couldn't go on Facebook or any of that shit. But because this was like, it was, you know, before the time of Spotify, obviously. So I was getting all my music just from downloading it. It was after LimeWire. So I was kind of doing like YouTube to MP3 type shit. Or in this case, it would just be a random website that his website or whatever, where as soon as it was released, you could download it all. And so obviously they didn't think to block fucking Mac Miller's mixtape website. And so I remember staying up and like refreshing until like the hour it was released, and downloading it all and listening to it all when it came out, and fucking loving that album too. And eventually, we're not going to do all of Mac Miller's albums, but definitely I would like to do the last one that he released before he died.
The progression of
Exactly.
it's fucking insane to listen. I'm like,
Exactly.
oh my god! And this album's weird because I'm like, I know the like what's the one right after this? Right after Kids that you were just saying?
Best Day Ever.
I know like that of like that's his like
Yeah.
the shit like that's the fucking jam.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like I didn't really know this album that just makes it all that well, but it's like it's such a callback to the movie Kids as
Exactly,
well, which
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
well, this is right up my
Oh,
fucking.
yeah.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things too when you get older, you're like,
Yeah.
why didn't I fuck with this?
100%.
What were you
Yeah.
doing?
That
You
was crazy.
idiot!
Yeah.
Like this is like everything about this album is like
so-
there's so many fucking like
100%.
gems
Yeah.
in it that you're like,
And-
oh fuck yeah,
yeah.
I fuck with that. I fuck with that
Yeah.
too.
So
And
Like
much
yeah.
considered from the thing. Like
yeah.
I think that's the
Yeah,
like,
so
that's
many
what
references,
you see.
yeah.
Like if like I shit on a lot of hip hop or whatever because I think I'm like I don't know if like the old head now or whatever, but like it's not to be a dick. Like I try to celebrate stuff if like I could see like the work that put into something and I could appreciate it, and even though it's not for me or whatever, right? This is not the case. This is like definitely right up my alley, and I think that for whatever reason, maybe if it was on my radar and just kind of discarded it at the time, maybe for whatever reason, then I think that like what you see when I'm looking at it now and listening with my ears now is that like everything is done right. Like the kid respects the same shit that I'm into. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
So many references.
And he
so many
does it
samples.
right. Like it's like
he's
yeah,
not
it's
a bum.
not.
He's
Yeah.
not. There's so many fucking
He-
bums.
Yeah,
You know what
like
I
he
mean?
knows
Yeah.
his shit, and he's so fucking young, and like
He's so young.
Yeah.
in this,
Yeah,
too.
and
watch the
funny,
videos. There's
fucking
wild.
So
there's
funny,
lines in here
yeah.
that are hilarious. They're
The music
heartfelt and shit
videos
like
are
that.
great, too.
As
I
far as
recommend
like
watching
from
them,
an
yeah.
MC standpoint and shit, there's supposed to be arrogance, but he also pays
Yeah.
homage in really good ways too to
And-
like callbacks to like classic rap lines and fucking
And samples
and
from
the things-
classic fucking
Yeah.
rap shit
Exactly,
too.
right? Like
And
the whole thing
Well,
is,
even crazier samples too.
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
there's like Wang Chung fucking samples on this. There's Eiley Brothers sample on this.
right? And
There's
then
a
it comes to
bunch
point
of
where,
shit.
like,
It's
in
wild.
Yeah.
Where like in the mixtape culture, there was so much stuff that was just kind of like thrown out and shit. And I think like my favorite apathy fucking lines ever is instead of dropping classics and making sure shit bumps, you drop a bullshit mixtape every 6 months, which I think was really common at the time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
quantity over quality.
Yeah,
yeah.
100%, right?
Yeah.
But that's like if you didn't put your ear to the ground and you weren't following any of that, then you wouldn't have seen that there really is some fucking real gems that did come from those mixtape things. Where and this one, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, and he was undeniable, his talent, and you could see in the relatively, I mean, short career, because he died way too soon. He was 26 when he died. But that being said, he started putting out mixtapes when he was 15. So, and when he died, he had released 13 mixtapes and 5 studio albums.
prolific. young
And
man.
since then, there have been a couple.
That's the thing.
albums
It's so
released
talented, but like
posthumous.
this
Yeah.
motherfucker worked. dude.
Exactly,
Like, yeah.
and like.
100%.
You do that all yourself too.
Fuck
Like,
yeah.
And like
dude.
talking about his progression too. I mean, if you listen to this album and then listen to his last album that he released before he died, Swimming, it's so different. But it's so, I mean, that last album is him like as an artist. Like you can, it's such a different vibe, but it's so good and so impressive. And I recommend everyone watch his Tiny Desk concert.
Oh fuck.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my god! And
All
that
those
was
are always so good.
yeah,
too.
and that was
Totally.
Ours that I
recorded.
even fuck
Thundercat
with.
and
I'm like,
shit on
yeah,
it.
Thundercat was so good too. Fuck.
And that was recorded actually just a few months before
Yeah.
he died. And even within this album, you can see like the, you know, kind of the beginning. It's very like happy, light, kind of like bouncy, dancey, like the spins, which is like very like kind of classic, like summer. It's a great summer album.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
But
knock
then-
and all that stuff. for Let 'Em
Yeah,
In and
very
shit like
fun.
that
But
stuff,
then by
yeah.
the end, you get Poppy and Face in the Crowd that are
Face in
very
the Crowd is a fucking great song.
very
actually, yeah.
introspective and emotional. So he had that in him the whole time. You know,
Yeah.
he's 18, like doing, and like you said, like obviously being kind of arrogant and cocky is like a thing in hip hop. But then by Facing the Crowd, he's totally like, you know, criticizing himself for that, being like,
Yeah,
I think
that's
I'm the
the-
shit,
that-
but I
and
know
that's-
I'm
He
just.
does
like
it
an
all
idiot.
within.
That's my favorite thing about like hip, like, especially when we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about like why you like music or whatever, like especially like lyrically driven artists and stuff like that. Hip hop is the one art form that you can really get like a peek into somebody's soul, and you can play both sides of the fence, right? Like I mean, he
Yeah.
like on his other side, like I know your girl loves me and all that crazy shit or whatever. You can be as arrogant as you want. You can be out there to fucking shit, but like for when I think an artist really stands out is when they can fucking like acknowledge the other side of that coin and stuff like that.
Exactly.
He's got a song with Sean Price that's like if you're under 18 you shouldn't listen to this, and like so he can get in there with some of the most thugged out fucking like rappers and shit, but still have, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like really heartfelt introspective like songs whether about love or fucking
Yeah.
depression
And to
his
be
own
doing
struggles
that-
and shit. You know what I mean? Very, very mature artist at a young age,
Yeah,
even though when
to
he's talking
be
about just like
doing
fucking your
that
girlfriend.
already at age 18, like is
Yeah.
crazy what
Totally.
he was capable
Sick.
of. And yeah, and like you said, so this album is like a reference and homage to Kids, the movie by Harmony Korine that came out in '95. And that movie, I mean, we were talking about it the other day. It's I think it's definitely a must watch.
They
though.
should show it in schools.
I wouldn't. I personally, after watching it once, had no desire to watch it again. It's a great, it's a great movie,
Lord
but
of the Rings, babe? Come
but
on.
oh boy, it's a heavy
It's
movie.
such a fucking heavy movie.
Yeah.
And it's just a real as fuck movie.
Yeah.
That's why Harmony Korine is,
exactly.
like,
That whole
the
shit,
same
like-
thing of
That introduced like the Zoo York crew.
totally.
And all that
Yeah.
shit, dude. Like, oh man.
It's-
That's why I'm like, it's
yeah.
wild that I didn't fuck with this album. He's got a song in the goddamn album called Nikes on my feet for
Yeah,
Christ's
dude.
sake.
Yeah,
I'm
right?
not fucking with this.
Yeah, nice some Kool-Aid and frozen pizza.
Totally.
Dude, oh
yeah,
my
it's
God.
so good.
Exactly. Like,
So
I think
the
that's
inf-
with the respect thing or whatever with like Nikes on my feet. Like you take a classic Nas line and just make the dopest hip hop track out of it, and then just put it on a fucking
Even
mixtape
the
or
video
whatever.
for
It's
that
so cool.
track, the video for that track's dope because there's
Yeah.
like the instrumental that they had before that, which is like
Yeah.
kind of like how the whole album is. It was like it's just really happy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
go lucky like instrumental. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
god damn, like this is orchestral shit, and then it
Yeah.
goes into night. And I'm like, this is kind of like
That's
more
hip-hop
like
as fuck.
darker kind
Yeah,
of song.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sick, dude.
And it's
so
like
good.
it's interesting because like so that movie, the tone is so dark and
Yeah.
heavy, but this album, even though as much as it
I think
pays
the first act is
homage,
pretty happy.
as well as much as it
Till they
pays
beat the fuck
homage
out of
to
that
that
guy.
movie, the tone is quite the opposite to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
For it, like it's so and yeah, again, it does have very, especially towards the end, emotional and introspective songs. But for the most part, the tone of this album is
It's
very,
a kid kicking incredibly dope
It's
shit.
so it's so good.
I'll give it to you, man. Fucking right.
Yeah, and just the like the and as someone who isn't that into lyrics or doesn't gravitate towards lyrics, the lyrical content in this album
It's
is
insane,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and just like his throughout his whole career, his lyrics are incredible, and like yeah, like you were saying, like you can see it already in here, like the kind of more artistic, musical, like orchestral shit, and then in his Tiny Desk concert in that last album, you see he fucking brings strings in for his like and has it's so good, so
Yeah, it's
crazy.
I think and like
Yeah.
there has to be like something you have to fucking speak something to just his general likability. I think there's a lot of people that are that talented and stuff, or you know what I mean. There's a lot of people that might like fly under the radar or whatever, but there's something so incredibly likable about this kid.
Yeah,
That, like
yeah.
you really do see it, like you hear it. You know what I mean, in the playfulness of his songs and stuff like that, and kind of like the sarcasm that you know he'll kind of throw lyrics around with, but then also like his demeanor and shit on stage, especially for that Tiny Desk thing and stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's a fun vulnerability here of this kid that you're kind of like, oh, this kid will fucking crack some jokes and shit like that,
If
but
you-
don't
yeah.
call him in the morning.
If
you
you
know.
watch like any interview with him, he's a very like genuine and likable person. And again, like at that time, YouTube was such a big thing, and I spent I probably watched every fucking YouTube video there was of him, and so I felt like I got to know him. He was like a huge huge high school crush of mine.
Yeah,
which
you
is also
played the song like I know
Yeah.
your girlfriend loves me in the car. Don't be mad your girlfriend wants to fuck me. I've listened to that all the time. In the car. But he's dead, so like all right. I'll give it
Yeah,
yeah, like,
yeah.
you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
I will go to hell and find you, Mac.
But yeah, and his personality, it was so like magnetic too. You know, he just seemed like someone you wanted to hang out with, pretty much.
For sure.
But you can see, especially in those later years before he died, in that Tiny Desk concert, you can see the fucking demons that are like kind of right behind the surface there, and that he's struggling with. And yeah, anyone listening who doesn't know, he overdosed September 2018. We were actually still in film school at the time. I fucking remember the day he died. It was like it's fucking 9/11. Like
It was Elvis.
yeah. But
did I say something in poor taste?
no,
Okay,
no,
cool.
no, no.
See Johnny racking his brain back. He's like, oh
Probably
no.
said something bad.
It's actually, funnily enough, it
I
was
remember
right-
being extremely assholey in September 2018.
Yeah. It was actually right around the time that that you and I were starting to hang out more, and I actually remember
no.
shortly after he died, I was hanging out at we were at your place and we were watching Mac Miller like music videos were on in the background
Sure,
and
okay.
his Tiny Desk and stuff like that. It was right around. It was
Oh, you were
very
probably
shortly after he
introducing
died.
me to the
Yeah.
artist and,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because I remember, because at the time that he died, I
We're both
wasn't.
dealing with loss.
Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't been listening to him all that much. I'd kind of almost outgrown him or almost forgotten about him. And so then he died and I was like, oh fuck. Like, and then going back and kind of rediscovering my love for him and being like, why did I ever stop fucking listening to him?
I'm gonna find another white boy with a hat.
Yeah.
who's wearing a Pittsburgh fucking hat.
Yeah, I really just fell into your arms there.
Yeah.
You're
I should get his P tattoo
right.
on my hand or something.
Yeah, right. When Johnny was a Florida Marlins fan before that.
Once I knew what they were capable
All of a
of.
sudden just showed up at school with a new hat all of a sudden. Yeah.
Hey, baby.
Where's he from? Pittsburgh, huh? Okay.
I've
I've been known to be a bit of a pirate myself
I
sometimes.
identify with one of the teams from Pittsburgh. I'm
But,
either a penguin or a pirate,
yeah.
depending on the day.
But yeah, I fucking love this album so much, and it means a
kicks
lot
ass,
to
it
me.
does.
And every time, I mean, I've listened to it so many fucking times, but every time I enjoy it so much. It's one of those ones I could just listen to on. It's like a stranded on an island kind of album,
Yeah,
where
for
I
sure.
would never get sick of it. And obviously, a lot of that is like nostalgia and what it meant to me at the time, and it being kind of the first thing that was like mine with music and all of that, and yeah, great summer album, good album
It's
for the
fantastic
first like hot weekend of the
Yeah.
summer.
Fuck yeah. No,
Yeah.
great pick. Yeah,
Totally.
great
Yeah.
pick.
Last night you went to a show, and so I was like kind of doing the research or whatever, preparing for this thing. So I just kind of sat. I turned on an Xbox, which I don't do very often. I got the kitty running around. I had like a couple beers, and I smoked a bunch of weed, and I just listened to this. And I couldn't find my Skate 2 disc. So, well, that'll keep you guys updated on that. That's that's the only reason I have a fucking Xbox. But I did shoot a lot of police to Grand Theft Auto while smoking weed, listening to this record.
Oh, so you were just
It
transported
put
right
me-
back,
dude,
baby.
exactly. Yeah, it put me
yeah.
kind of like right
Okay.
in a cool place or whatever. When you came home, I was really chilling.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
So we're gonna wrap it up here soon because it's very hot in here.
It's super hot,
yeah,
yeah.
but just quick question before we go.
Sure.
So this, like I said, very formative album for me at that age, around 16 in my life. What if you guys were to pick one album that's like that for you?
From
what
that
would it
age?
be? Yeah.
From 16. 16, okay, so 2 years into like what would be like a 9-year relationship, kind of high school, shit was going crazy, still kind of like in the throes of crime and whatnot. I mean, I want to say like Mobb Deep's Infamous because it's cool and I was listening to that at that time. But what we were rocking to probably would have been like the Chronic 2001, 2006. I think that maybe
that-
like Doggy Style, anything, and Tupac, like anything from the West Coast, I think at that
Yeah.
time. So depending on the day, like it could be like Tupac's All Eyes on Me or like Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style or like probably the Chronic or 2001. Yeah, for sure. From 60, yeah, fuck yeah.
16. I'm definitely on that end of things,
Yeah.
but also because of those albums, I think that's when I first really that was the album I first brought on when I was a guest.
Yeah.
was
part
Mothership
of-
Connection.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, like any of those, like old like funk albums like that.
Yeah,
That's
that's
when I
cool.
first
Yeah.
remember being like, oh, funk's like I get it. Like
I wish
get
we
it.
would have found that at that time because the like now my the hunt for new music isn't what it was because like now I have my own creative outlet and I have like my own shit or whatever that I can focus on. That's sitting down for like a few hours and finding the next, like the new shit. Like I would spend so much time listening to music and searching for new stuff that. Everything was always lyric based or whatever, right? So it would have been cool to to find the funk or whatever. Because if you're looking like listening to hip hop and then finding those samples, like you're seeing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like the other side of connection. Because I was like looking at like hip hop and like as like the lyrics were as like lyricists were evolving and growing. As I would keep going back, I would hear like everybody's like what I mean in our generation or whatever. So if like say like Eminem is the first guy that you listen to or whatever. And he's like I am whatever you say I am, and then you get like a record from the 80s and it's the R, the A to the K I am. And if it wasn't, then why? So like those moments of discovery are like huge for me or whatever. So like on the music side, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and I think like even kind of looking back, like I was always into the Chili Peppers, but even then that was kind of introduced to me by my parents. Like my dad would play By the Way on repeat all the time.
Quite a bit too. Was that like around Californication time?
Yeah, Californication was 99.
Okay.
And so, but I remember when By the Way came out in 03 was
So
right around the
you're
time
16, 03?
that
Yeah.
we moved into our house that we've had for like 20 years now. And my dad, when we were moving in and painting all the rooms and shit, he would play that album on repeat, and so
Yeah.
it did kind of imbued into me that way.
And into the house.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
into the
yeah, for
house.
sure.
It's in the walls.
Yeah, and so again, just like the first kind of thing that I discovered on my own. So it's kind of a different kind of connection to it. Yeah. But yeah, fucking solid. So I'm happy.
Great pick.
Yeah. I'm stoked we finally got to talk about it. Yeah. And thanks for tuning in again, Flashers.